gift to be taught and a richer gift to learn. And when we expect of others what we try to live each day, then we'll all live together and we'll all learn to say,
"'Tis the gift to have friends and a true friend to be. 'Tis the gift to think of others, not to only think of me." And when we hear what others really think and really feel, then we'll all live together with a love that is real.
"'Tis the gift to be loving, 'tis the best gift of all. Like the quiet rain, it blesses where it falls.
And with it, we will truly believe 'tis better to give than it is to receive."
The earth is our mother and the fullness thereof.
Her streets, her slums, as well as stars above.
Salvation is here, where we laugh, where we cry,
Where we seek and love,
where we live and die.
when true liberty is found by fear and by hate, we will no more be bound. In love and in light, we will find our new birth, and in peace and freedom redeem the earth.
'Tis a gift to be simple,
'Tis a gift to be fair
'tis a gift to wake,
and breathe the morning air.
and each day we walk.
On the path that we choose, 'tis a gift we pray we never shall lose.
All right. Good evening, friends and neighbors. Welcome to the Raven County Rag. Tonight's episode is called The First Harvest. You know, every now and then, life gives you a little reminder that the work was worth it. This week was one of those weeks. Monday brought the first harvest from the garden. Trying to get the background. Our grandson was over, and he and I were out finishing up some tomato cages. We'd been working our way through the rows, checking the plants, talking about this and that. And we decided to look over at the zucchini plants. And there it was. One zucchini. It was slightly larger than I would have preferred. I saw several that were getting ready. I thought they might be ready to pick, but they weren't. But I looked in the other plant, and there was a big old zucchini. That thing was, let me see if I can get a camera angle right. It was that darn long, and it was that big around. It was just a little larger than I would have preferred. But nonetheless, it became dinner. I sliced it in rounds, pan-seared it in olive oil, and topped it with melted cheese and pico de gallo. I have to tell you, it tasted better than any zucchini had a right to taste. And I've had it for the past couple days. I think there's 2 more pieces up there I'm going to have this evening after the show. And it wasn't because it was special, because we grew it, and maybe because it represented something. Since the middle of March, weeks of planting, weeks of watering, weeks of replanting after cool nights, weeks of hoping, and finally, a reward. That seems to have been the theme this week. I got a little story for you. I drove up to Darnell's shooting range and discovered that the Forest Service has done some substantial work on the road. And and for the first time in I think a year, it was properly passable again. So let's give a shout out to the Forest Service. It's good to see public resources being maintained and improved. And I can assure you I'll be making use of that range in the near future. Before we go any further, I'll show you this little bit of video that I took. It's 2 minutes, but it gives you an idea of what it looks like. Anyway, let's take a look. Well, this is the Darnell shooting range. The U.S. Forest Service has finally gotten it reopened. I came off of Kelly's Creek. I guess that's in Mountain City. And I just wanted to document this. It might be actually in Dillard. I'm not sure. Be a pretty cool place for the gathering of people to get together and zero in their weapons and have fellowship. And it's way up on, I think they call it Darnell Creek. There's 3 shooting tables. You could probably fit 2 guys on there. There's the backdrop. Probably, I don't know if that's 100 yards or not. But there's some benches. Couple trails wandering off. I'm not sure where they go. But interesting scenario here. It does need to be cleaned up. Maybe if we got together. It's common courtesy on a gun range for an individual to pick up any brass that he may have fired. I see there's thousands of brass pieces and shotgun shells. It's a shame that people went up there and used the public forest, something that the Forest Service put up for us and then didn't take care of it. But anyway, let's continue looking. There's a bunch that came out here with some rakes and kind of raked it up and cleaned it up, and so everybody could see where it's at. It looks like it may have had a pavilion at one time, some kind of shade. This there and over there. I don't see one over here, but anyway, I just wanted to bring that. All right, thanks. And I've got a map up here. It's this is Dillard right here. And it shows Kelly Creek. I don't know if you can see my mouse or not on there, but Kelly's Creek runs up through here, and then Darnell shooting range. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit. Let's see. There, well, there's the mouse. And Kelly's Creek, you can see it coming off 441, 23 there, and running across. And you go a couple miles out through there, and then you'll come to take Kelly's Creek to Darnell, and then Darnell Creek Road, and you follow that out, and Darnell shooting range. There's a Hoosier Branch archaeological site there too. So you could go on out to Darnell shooting range. Real nice. It's about 3 miles once you get on Darnell Creek Road. So it's probably a total of maybe 4 or 5 miles from 441, and it's on National Forest land. It was quite a drive. And here's a backstory on that. Let me switch here. I would say last year at this time, I saw the sign. I go down out Kelly's Creek for a bunch of reasons, and used to fly drones over at the quarry, take a shortcut, drop off trash, and go on off and go take a walk. But I saw that sign. I said, I'm going to check it out. And so I went up there, and I got about 2.5 miles into it, and all of a sudden the road was impassable. The road you just couldn't, it was washed out so bad. And I got to thinking about it, and I talked to several people. I said, you know anything? You ever been up there? And no, I never been up there. Or it was, a bunch of dope heads hang out there. And I was like, well, that sucks. Anyway, I got motivated, and I was going down to the Tallulah River to take my once weekly hike. I go down there and march around and get some exercise. And I stopped in at the Chattooga River Ranger District. It's the Chattahoochee Oconee National Forest, part of that. And it's those those headquarters there in Lakemont on 441. And I walked in. I said, who would be in charge of that? And the lady there at the desk, I don't know if her name was Rose or if the lady in charge, her name was Rose. I don't recall. But I'm going to make an effort to stop by there next week and go in and give them a personal thank you for getting that done. So anyway, I stopped in and talked to them, and they gave me contact information. And I called back and left a message, and then she called me back and we talked about it because I was willing to go into a partnership, private government partnership. And I was looking to see if I could maybe get up in there with a tractor and do some work, and maybe it would be tax deductible. And she said, well, let me find out. And she was going to do some research. And then she called me back, and I never called her back. I got called out and went on some projects and moved through several projects over the past year or so. And I was out that way the other day, as it showed on the video. And I turned up in there and drove up in there, and I kept looking for that washout, and I never saw it. There was a couple trees down that I didn't think I was going to get cleared of, but I wiggled up through there. Just take a chainsaw next time I go and help out the federal government and help better access. But yeah, got up there and checked it out. And like the video showed, people weren't cleaning their brass up. Shotgun shells and busted clay pigeons and all kinds of brass laying around. And I was like, good Lord, here these people went up there and made effort to get that done for the public. And then this portion of the public goes up there and doesn't take care of it. So as I mentioned, I'm going to maybe myself and I, or maybe somebody else or two or three. If somebody on the stream here is interested, you get in touch with me and put together a combination work day and rifle sighting, and maybe take us some cold drinks and cold cuts and go up there and spend a half a day cleaning up, sighting in rifles, and doing a little bit of fellowship up there. I think that'd be a fine and dandy thing. But anyway, thank you, U.S. Forest Service, for getting up there and making that road passable. I'm going to go by there personally, but here's the phone number if you want to call them directly and offer a word of thank you. It's 706-754-6221. Remember that the federal government serves the people, but us people need to be grateful for them taking care of our natural resources. We're a blessed country to have so many national forests in this country that we can go visit and enjoy with all kinds of scenery and all kinds of things to look at. So I encourage you to stop by or call and say thank you. I know that I am, and I am grateful for that aspect of our great country. Anyway, that's enough said about that. If you got any questions on that or like some further information, send me a chat. Let me know what you think. Anyway, let's move on with the show. I did get the grass cut Friday. Good Lord, it looks like it's ready to cut again. I know that it moves through phases, that In the spring, early spring, I can get away with every other week. And then from mid-June or late June or early July through August, end of August, I'm probably cutting it every week. And then maybe slack back off to every other week through September. And then come September, I let it grow. I let it get thick. I let the roots get set and healthy, because like you said, I don't have a manicured lawn with one type of grass. I got what my old buddy Tom Raleigh called woods grass. It's dandelion and clover and what do you call it? Plantain and dandelion and everything else, but I let it grow. It's I'll eat some dandelion if I get hungry. But anyway, I do suspect that lawn is planning a comeback, or I should say plotting a comeback. After months of saying I need to start road maintenance, I finally got started yesterday. Worked about 4 hours on it yesterday. Worked on it some more today before the rain arrived. And it looks like another solid day to have it back in good shape. Neighbor texts me, "You working on the road?" And I said, "Well, I got started. Got about another full day." She says, "When I see you, I'm going to give you some gas money." So, hey, look, I'm just trying to be a good neighbor. But anyway, slowly but surely. And before we go any further tonight, let's remember why we gather. We're a community of like-minded people with common interest in hunting, fishing, protecting our community, culture, families, and environment. We come here to exchange ideas, resources, and information. And tonight, we're talking about rewards. The small ones that remind us why we keep showing up. Anyway, let's move along. How about a hunting and fishing and outdoor report? Now, summertime will be here next week. Monday? What day is summer begin? It looks like Sunday is Father's Day and the first day of summer. So summer is starting to settle into the mountains now. Woods have become quieter. I don't know. Them birds and squirrels is sure active out there. My wife will forget to fill the feeder, and them birds is sure let you know. Funny thing. We had the power go out the other night. We got some string lights on the back porch just to give a little ambient lighting on the front porch and the back porch. But all the lights went out, and we had all the windows and doors open, and I went to bed about 9 o'clock as usual. And, no, I slept in the chair. I said, I'm going to wait till 9 o'clock when the power comes on. So I had to reset the satellite and Bluetooth, or what do you call that? Wireless, the internet, get all that back up. And I laid there, and about 10 o'clock, I said, well, I'm going to bed. I can't take it. Anyway, I'm laying there in the bed, and my wife goes, "There's a pig out here." I said, "What?" And I knew we had some pigs running around. I've told y'all about it. And now I tease her. I said, "You going to be on Pig Watch tonight?" She said, "I don't care what you said. I saw a pig." I said, "I believe you saw a pig." I'm just messing with her. I know there's a pig out there. Or to trap that thing. She said, "It doesn't look like a wild pig." I said, "Well, it's probably a domesticated one that got away, and it's slowly evolving." But anyway, sounds like a kind of, I wonder how you'd trap a pig. I don't know. That's something to think about. But right now, it's deer observation center, observation season. Excellent time. Get out there to observe bachelor groups, identify feeding areas, check out and monitor travel routes, maintain your trail system, evaluate food plot locations. The best hunters are getting ready or gathering information right now. And I was working the road, and some old boy came up the road in a four-wheeler or one of them little side-by-sides and cut off down one of the logging roads there. I don't know if he's trespassing or not. It's not really any of my concern. I think we contacted the owner and told him that somebody was down in there, and he never called me back. So, if you don't care, I don't care. As long as you don't, get down there and mess around on my little piece of land, I don't care. But anyway, I did a special mention, and we've talked about Darnell, the improved road access. It's better public access, safer travel, and it really is an increased recreational opportunity, because the only other gun range that I'm aware of is down south around Cornelia, or there's a couple indoor places where you got to pay. This is on federal land, and you own it. You can take the opportunity, gather a couple guys, get your weapons, get your ammo that you're going to be deer hunting with, and go down there and take the opportunity to sight your firearm in before the hunting season. And the only thing it'll cost you is time, gas, money, and ammo, which is cheaper than paying a fee for a gun range or something like that. Now, it may not have amenities like a cold drink stand or a gun shop at hand where you could purchase additional ammo or anything like that, but it's yours, so take advantage of it. And it's a reminder that public lands and facilities matter, and we need to be out there and using them, and we need to be out there taking care of them, or it'll revert back to where it was, where I couldn't get in there. So I'm glad I said something, because it could have remained unused for years and nobody it'd have fallen apart. It needs the new sign. I'm going to make it a personal thing for me. And if I can put a sign up that says Raven County Rag, if I go up there and clean it up, I'm going to ask them that. Hey, listen, I'll go up there once a month and rake it up and clean it up, but can I sponsor it and put a Rabun County Rag sign on it so that people know who's taking care of it? I would appreciate that, and I hope others do. And perhaps with enough foot traffic, people will start respecting it and taking care of it. But anyway, let's move along. Let's talk about some trout fishing. My daughter the other day showed me a picture. She caught a brook trout on the Chattooga River. I'm not going to say where at, but it was on the Chattooga River. And she showed me a picture, and it was 10 inches or better. And I'm saying, good Lord, girl, that's the biggest brook trout I've ever seen, bigger than anything I ever caught. I said, "Did you let it go?" She goes, "Oh, yeah." I told her I was proud of her. But anyway, and they had both caught. I think son-in-law caught a couple brook browns and a couple rainbow, and she caught that brookie. The grandson was visiting with us, so they went out and had a little date time before the new baby gets here. That's probably in September. A little girl coming our way. I can't wait. That's what my son-in-law needs, a little girl and take care of his business. But anyway, water temperatures for the trout. Early morning remain prime. Higher elevations are producing the best action. Water temperatures are becoming increasingly important. You know, we used to have these big old huge hemlocks in this part of the country until that beetle got in them, and they kept that water shaded. Well, now that those hemlocks have been decimated by those beetles, a lot of these streams are getting more and more sunlight, and fish like the brookies, they like that water cold at 65 or cooler. Now, the brown trout can handle a little bit of warmer temperature, and the rainbow is somewhere in the middle there. So hopefully the flora will produce something that will help shade those streams. I did find something. I might have mentioned it last week. I found me a catawba tree overhanging one of the rivers up here. And it's an isolated spot. I can tell it ain't been fished hardly at all. So there's another one I put in my hip pocket. I need to get in the cabinet back here and look up a recipe for a catawba fly. If any of y'all have a recipe for tying a catawba fly, send it to me. I'd imagine it's got to be a long shank, probably in the 12 to 14 range, maybe. 10's probably getting a little big, but a long shank, if y'all got one, let me know. Send me something. Send me a text, send me a recipe, send me a link to somebody who does it. And by the way, it's storming, so I know I'm getting a lot of poor reception tonight, so you might see some buffering, and I apologize. Elon's outfit, I still appreciate them. I don't care if I get a little buffering every now and then. It's a sight better than that. I think it was called Windstream or Kinetic or one of them things. They promise high-speed internet, and it's 3 megabits. And you're like, what? And I'm probably running 100 download right now. It might be a little slow. It might get a little buffering because of the rain and all that. But yeah, I see I'm getting a little buffering. I hope I don't disconnect. I may very well. But anyway, I am still grateful. Yeah, I just disconnected. I am still grateful. I'm still grateful for, I'm still grateful for, it says I'm online. I'm back. I'm still grateful for Elon and the people over at Starlink. Thank you. Thank you, Elon. Putting out the money and taking the risk, and I hope you're rewarded substantially for it. I know that I feel rewarded every time I get on here for business calls and conference calls and using live streaming and video calls and the whatnot. Where were we? we were talking about fishing. We covered the trout. Now, how about some bass? Deep structures producing, I understand. Early and late feeding windows. Top water opportunities are increasing, they say. Summer fishing rewards those willing to get up early. I got another story. I take a walk, and there's these little trails and things that I go on, and a couple places got a little bridge that crosses over the water. It's got some fishing docks and things like that. And I got to thinking, and so I took some cat food, kibble, whatever kind of crap it is. I said, I wonder. So I got some of that in the truck, and I put it in my pocket, and I get to those things that overlook the water, and I'll pitch them out there, and the little brim will go up and look at it, and tells me a couple things. Tells me the cat food ain't worth the crap, or they're getting plenty of natural and don't need to feed on it. And it's either way with me. But I might have thrown out 10 little kibbles out there, and 4 or 5 of them were floating, and all of a sudden here comes this turtle paddling through the water. And he saw me, and he kind of slowed down, and I guess his vision, he caught that stuff floating in the water, and he paddled up to it, and he put his nose to it and went, hump. And then he swam around. He saw the other one, hump. Swam around and saw another, hump. And got all that I throwed out there. So I pitched a couple more out there, and the fish would come up and look at it, turn their nose up and drift away. And here comes that turtle. Hump. Tickled the fool out of me. I can't wait to go back tomorrow and see if he's still waiting on me, see if he gets to recognizing me. But anyway, that's just a little side note there. You know how fishermen are. They're always looking for opportunities and testing the waters, so to say. Anyway, moving along, let's talk about around the homestead here. The work behind the reward. This week reminded me that every harvest has a backstory. It's amazing. It's another video I made earlier this week. It's called Your Hands Tell the Truth. Your hands tell the truth. When you look at your hands, they tell you what's important to that person. When you look at your hands, you know what you've done with them. Anyway, but that zucchini, that thing didn't magically appear in my garden as much as I wish it would sometimes. But it doesn't magically appear. Behind it was the soil preparation. You can ask my wife. When I first moved into this house 10 years ago, the backyard, it looked like it had been freshly plowed. I mean, I mean, excavated. It was just red mud, and all it had was just dirt and weeds and stumps and rocks. Matter of fact, my gardens have got rock perimeters around them where every garden I dug, I throwed rocks out the side of it and built up the low sides with them to kind of stop the wash. And then years after years, I'd buy a bag of just cheap old fescue and throw it out there, just try to get some ground cover to cool that soil off. And I buy 20, 30 bags of topsoil a year. Okay. And I've been here for 10 years now. So I've probably bought 300 bags of topsoil. Ain't no telling how many bales of straw. I've been composting kitchen scraps. I have been doing everything, preparing the soil. And the first thing I always do is plant wildflowers because they don't need soil that good. And what they do is they start putting organic material. When they die, I just leave them in and till them in. For years, I just tilled and throw it and mulch everything with, and when I'd plant it, and when I finally got to, after a couple years, I started to putting in the vegetables. I would dig a deep pit and use a whole bag of topsoil and stir it in with maybe a cup of fertilizer, and I'd put all my plants just like that. Now I'm down to maybe a half a bag or a quarter a bag of topsoil every time I put in a plant because the soil is developing. Some years that old red clay, man, it'd hold that water and you could just tell the plants were suffering. But I knew that I had to keep going at it. So soil preparation that goes in, and then, I go to the Home Depot or the Lowe's or whatever, and they want $2 or $3 for a darn seed, a seedling, a tomato seedling. Ha! Yeah, I buy a whole pack of seeds and take some starting soil, and I'll have 50 tomato plants, and it won't cost me but $15 or $20. And I start. The first few years, I started them outdoors in little trays. I said, I want to get started a little earlier. The encoder went out again. But, and then I had I was on a job site and came up with an old spare metal rack, one of those stainless steel deals they have in kitchens. And I brought it home and put it in the pantry. And, I bought some cheap lights or got them off a job site and hung them on that wire rack. And then I think I did pay for some heating pads. So come middle of March, I'm in there starting my seeds. And by the time I'm ready to plant, I've got maybe 150 plants. And so then, you're maintaining those for a month. You're down there every morning. I come downstairs for my regular thing. I go in there and check on my seeds. And when they sprout, I take the covers off and maintain a little fan in there blowing them, trying to develop good, strong stems so they don't get leggy. And turn the heat off at a particular time when they get so big. Make sure it don't get too cold. But have a timer on the lights. I'm down there and I'm babying them things. I'm thinking, 150 plants times $3. That's $450 worth of produce, but plants. That doesn't include the produce it's going to produce. So then come. They say first week after Easter. So I do that. Next year, I'm going to watch them boys over there in Wolfert Valley. And when I see them prepping their fields and getting ready to transplant, I'm going to follow their schedule because I lost some plants this year and I've had to restart and replant. But anyway, transplanting 150 plants, that's just no ordinary thing. I mean, I'm 65, fixing to be 65. That's work to me. Old back don't like that, squatting down. But anyway, transplanting all those seedlings that I've started, and then the cold snap gets them, and replanting. Hadn't had to do much watering and very little weeding. Hey, I've gone no-till and got a heavy mulch base down. So if I have to do any weeding, they normally pop up real easy. Now, that old crabgrass getting there, I might dig it out. And them old poke plants for that poke salad, I always leave 2 or 3 of them things in there, turn them into an ornamental. Now, them got a darned old taproot on them. They go down. I keep breaking them off. But anyway, and patience. Just being patient. You just got to give them time. You keep looking, man. You thinking, man, them tomatoes is going to be good. And you keep buying them at the grocery store because you get to craving them so bad. And, of course, the grocery store going to charge you more. They got to make a profit, and the truckers got to make a profit, and the farmers got to make a profit. I cut all them profit makers out. I don't blame them for making a profit, but they don't have to make it off of me. But anyway, it's always the visible reward that gets the attention. You know, that my grandson had that big old zucchini. Boy, he was happy. He was proud. We got something out of the garden and got some basil plants, and I was pinching the top side of them, or Nana was pinching the top side of them. I said, try some of that basil. He goes, I can eat that? Now, he's already been eating collard greens and kale and everything else out of the garden. I said, yeah, you can eat that. And he tasted it. He had the experience. I don't know if he was too enthusiastic about the taste of basil, but the thing is, he tried it, and he knew that somebody took the time to grow that, and that is a important seasoning for meals. So he walked around with it. He'd take a little bite, but eventually his Nana said, here, let me have that. He was proud of it, but he really didn't appreciate. Now, the collard greens, a whole different story. I seen that old boy wolf down some raw collard greens. His Nana got up, said, "They snails and stuff crawling on that." And I said, well, anywho, it's the visible reward that gets the attention, and the invisible work that made it possible. Anyway, what kind of priorities you got going? I got to finish the road maintenance. Probably going to take a full day. It's supposed to rain today and tomorrow. Maybe sunshine Saturday. It'll take a couple days for that road to dry. Any of y'all ever tried to work an old wet dirt road? And boy, we run shy on gravel. I've been pulling that stuff up from the bottom using my old, what do you call that thing? It's got rakers on it and re-smooths it. Man, that son of a gun, about run out of gravel. Anyway, yeah, Friday, mostly sunny. Saturday, mostly sunny. So Saturday, I may get out there and finish that road, and I can put that to rest until I do it again in the fall to get ready for the winter. But anyway, got to finish the road maintenance. How about y'all? Y'all got to do some road maintenance and wash control around your place? I still got, I started some new tomato plants out there under the deck here. Some herbs too. Hopefully some of them herbs, especially that rosemary, it don't like to come up. It takes a long time to come up. Basil and cilantro, it'll come up. It just takes a little, nothing takes as long as that rosemary. I was at the Home Depot and I saw that rosemary and I said, man, maybe I should just buy some. And I saw the prices on that. I said, no, I'll keep trying it from seed. Because once you get that rosemary going, you can take cuttings from it and start them all the time. I replanted my gardenia. They've been growing out there in the garden for a couple years, and finally got them transplanted and took some cuttings and tried to get some to start, and they all failed. That's just part of it. Sometimes they fail and sometimes they don't. I may try and put some back out there in the garden in pots like I did. I think it's better temperature control and things like that. Or maybe I'll take some cuttings through August. July and August, see if I can put a little root tone on them and get something going. Well, who knows? But anyway, still got to make some tomato. I got that old cheap wire several years ago trying to cheap out. And I need to add that to the marketplace here on here and see if I can't see if anybody's got some of that old concrete mesh. That's the best stuff to make them. Got that 4x4 opening and it supports the plants real good, and you can use it for several years before it rusts out. I just need to get some of that. So if you got some of that concrete wire, hit me up. I'd like to have some. Maybe we can work out a deal. Anyway, we'll keep monitoring that garden growth and try and stay ahead of the weeds and continue succession plan. I need to start thinking about getting some collard green seeds. I've got some kale seeds. They're probably 2 or 3 years old. I did take a section of one of my gardens and, they say, hey, put cardboard down and then mulch on top of it. Hell, I went to plant something. I had to cut through the darn cardboard to get the plants in. I hope it'll rot down and build the soil. I did pull some of it up. It had some earthworms in it, so I'm moving in the right direction. But the work continues. But now we're starting to see some results. I've seen a lot of tomato blooms out there. Pollinators seem to be getting after it pretty good. So we might be in good shape now. Moving along, you guys know I'm a safety guy in the construction business, specifically the demolition business. And I always like to have some kind of safety topic, either whether it's gun safety, water safety. Today, let's talk a little bit about the heat. The moderate temperatures have been a blessing. But summer hazards are still arriving. So let's talk about some heat awareness. Humidity remains the hidden challenge. We talked about that last week. Man, it wasn't but 70 degrees. It was so humid. I was sweating. I told you I should have took a bar of soap with me on my walk, and I could lather up in the first half of the walk and rinse it off the second half of the walk with all the sweat I was producing. But anyway, drink water before you're thirsty. Even when I'm out here on the tractor, here it is. I brought it in. I got a bottle of water. I just filled up from the tap. I ain't going, now my wife won't drink that. And it's from a well, and if it's going to kill me, it's going to kill me. But here's a story. I was a truck driver. For a grocery store, grocery chain, Winn-Dixie. They dispatched me one time to go pick up a truck full of spring water. I said, okay. And so they give me directions, but I'm driving further and further and further out into the country. I said, well, that's good. We're going to get some spring water. And so all of a sudden, I make a turn. I'm in a cow pasture. And there's a road, and I can see old tin building way on back there. I drive out there, and it was a tin building. And it had a well. And they pumped that water out of the ground and filled the bottles and called it spring water. So, okay. I figured it was better than city water because it didn't have fluorine, chlorine, and all kinds of stuff they do. Anyway, that's the story. I'm sticking to it. People buy that old store-bought water. They get some of them get it out of municipalities, and I'm like, okay, we want to pay for that? Shit, I've had this bottle for a year or better, I bet. Probably longer than that. It's plastic, I know, microplastics and everything else. But anyway, we were talking about humidity and heat awareness. Drink water before you're thirsty. Every morning I get up and pour a glass out of the tap, 16 ounces of water, and I use it to take my meds. So I drink water, and then it's at least an hour before I have any coffee, so I'm hydrating all the time. And when I'm out here working in the garden, I got a little metal chair and a concrete block and a plastic bottle with water. I'll be out there cutting the grass or working in the garden, and if I'm not working, you can go out there and look through the cracks and see me down there taking a break in the shade under the deck there. Matter of fact, I'm going to build it in. I've been talking about that. Got an old sliding glass door and some glass panels. I'm going to build me a little observation post under there. But anyway, take breaks and watch for fatigue. Man, if you get tired, just give yourself a break. It ain't got to be done right now. Pace yourself. And another thing, me working on the road, get off cutting them ditches, that old tractor's leaning over. A fat old man like me gets a little nervous. So road maintenance brings its own risk. Uneven ground, equipment operations, fatigue. You're just driving the tractor all day long. And the day I got wet. So work steady, work deliberately, and get to the house safely. Weather and seasonal outlook. The pattern continues. Warm afternoon, moderate nights, increasing humidity and regular rain opportunities. Here's the good news. Gardens are thriving. The bad news, so's the weeds. Overall, conditions have been remarkably favorable for growing season activity. And honestly, my air conditioner hadn't had to work that hard. Now it's running today. The wife got a little heated. You know, she's that old, what do they call that thing? She's had it about 15 years now, menopause. But been lucky, hadn't had to run the air conditioning. I'm sure it's going to change. This week's lesson comes from that single zucchini. Sometimes we focus so much on what still needs doing that we forget to appreciate what's already been accomplished. The first harvest is important, not because of the amount, because it proves that the process works. Get out there in the garden, finish your tomato support system, watch the squash and the cucumbers, continue the weed control, monitor disease pressure, prepare for heavier harvest. Just the season is just beginning. All right, we cranking through some stuff here. Make sure you get out in the community. You know, we still got the guided hikes, the waterfall programs, the nature interpretation, wildlife observation. Got farmers markets, produce stands, summer festivals, flea markets, all kinds of things going on out there in the world. Granddaddy used to say a garden is proof that optimism survives repeated disappointment. Oh man, your zucchini is too big when it starts applying for its own zip code. You know, I'm beginning a lawn only has 2 settings. Needs mowing and should have been mowed yesterday. Every mountain gardener eventually discovers one zucchini plant produces approximately enough food for one medium-sized county. Hey, listen, running out of time here. It is 6:56. Shout outs. Forest Service, U.S. Forest Service, thanks for the crews for improving public access to the gun range up there on Darnell Creek. Shout out to the gardeners who are seeing their first harvest. Grandparents for teaching skills to the grandchildren. And volunteers who are out there maintaining community infrastructure. Everyone quietly taking care of their own little corner of the mountains. The work matters, okay? Oh, before we get out of here, community marketplace. Buy, sell, or trade. I am in search of a broad fork, manure for compost, mulch hay, and I mentioned something earlier, but it has already slipped my mind. Oh, well. So if you got a broad fork in the barn you ain't using, let me know. Manure for compost. I'll take chicken manure. I'll take cow manure. I'd probably take horse manure. But I just need some manure to start putting in my compost, and I need mulch hay. So if you've got any of those things and you watch this, send me a message, send me a chat, send me something. I need that stuff. I've been asking for a month now. All right. Here's the final some questions before we finish this thing up. What was your first harvest of the season? Some tomatoes, squash, okra? And if you don't garden, what's something you've worked on recently that finally paid off? I'd love to hear about it. All right, let's wrap this thing up with gratitude, worth the effort. Let's close it this way tonight. Life has a way of rewarding patience. Not always quickly, not always dramatically, but eventually. A repaired road, a maintained shooting range, a healthy garden, a first harvest, a grandson helping in the garden. Small things, but meaningful things. The kind of things that make a life. And through it all, we remember why we gather. We're a community of like-minded people with common interest in hunting, fishing, protecting our community, culture, families, and environment. We exchange ideas, resources, and information. Thank you for spending your evening with the Rabun County Rag. This is Bubba, and I'm signing off from the mountain, where the road is getting smoother, the tomatoes are getting taller, and zucchinis are getting bigger than they should, and the rewards are finally beginning to arrive. As always, I want to thank you for showing up, being here, and also, as I always say, have a grateful day. Have a grateful week, and I'll see you next time. I love everyone.